Hi everyone, welcome back to Beginner's WordPress. Last week I showed you how to simply access the admin area of your WordPress website, and I promised to talk about things like posting new blog posts. And so that's what we're going to focus on today. So we'll get right into it. If you remember from last week's post, in order to get into your admin area, you simply go to your website's address, give it a / and wp-admin. That'll get you to your login screen. And you can log in with your credentials as administrator, and you will be into the administration area, just like we saw last week. To create a new post, it couldn't be simpler. You simply either hover over posts and click Add New here, or if you click on posts, you can add new up at the top. You can also add a new post, media page, or other items at any time from the main bar up at the top. For now, we'll just click the Add New button, and we will give our new post a title. We'll give our post some content. Rotten typist today. Maybe we'll even add some media in a minute or two. But I just want to give you a couple of things to note right off the bat. As you see that because we've been on the page for a second or two, it automatically created this permalink for us, which is basically the address of this specific blog post. And it hyphenates the title here. If it's a really long blog post name, you might want to edit the post. And just for our purposes, I'll just edit it here just by giving it a 1. And so the blog post name can be different from the URL slightly. And here it's new post 1, here it's just new post. So that's something to point out. Basically, you got some content. You would add paragraphs, all of your stuff here in the content area. And I talked a little bit about this before, but I wanted to go over it again. You'll notice that we have two tabs over here on the right, a visual and a text. Visual is kind of what you see is what you get. So if I wanted this to be a really bold some content heading, I can highlight it there and make it bold. Maybe we want to make this in italics, the more content, and maybe we want the next paragraph to be center aligned. If you've ever dealt with Microsoft Word or similar programs, this is all pretty much normal stuff for you. We can create a link by creating a line, highlighting it, and you can see Insert Edit Link, and we could give this new link an address. Let me see. So I'm going to simply say, I'm going to send it to the home page of my current site. But what you see is I typed in what the title was, and now it appears as a link inside of my text. And if I add more text here, you'll see that it's just normal text. It's not going to be clickable. So basically, you have this bar up at the top that gives you all sorts of formatting possibilities. You can create bulleted lists, ordered lists. You can do something called a block quote. Oftentimes, for blocks of text that you want to highlight, a block quote is a great way to do that. If I wanted to put my testimonials as a block quote, I would highlight the text that I want to create as a block quote. And even though it's not showing up here that it's really doing anything, you'll see once we view this post that it will indeed be a little bit different. So let's go ahead and align this left. Boy, I really am having a difficult time typing today. Anyway, that's the basics of adding content and formatting it. You can explore, you're going to be pretty familiar with all of these options. I will point out this more tag. If you want to have only a summary show up in your blog roll, if you only maybe want the first paragraph to show up, you can insert this more tag. And basically you just put your cursor wherever you want the more tag to go, and it will insert one there. I'll just delete this one. A couple of things I want to point out: this toolbar toggle. If you don't seem to have everything that you're used to seeing on the toolbar, you'll see that we've lost a line. You may have just accidentally toggled the toolbar between show all and don't show all, and so that's all that's about. Short code, we're not going to talk about that. We'll get into that in a more advanced session. But there we go. We've created a pretty ugly looking blog post and added content, that sort of thing. We haven't published it yet, so even if I have a blog up on my site, no one will be able to see this. I'm going to save it. No one will be able to see this until we publish it. And you can either publish it immediately by hitting the publish button, or if you wanted to schedule a blog post, you can do that here. You just basically put whatever date you want to put in the future, hit publish, and it won't publish until that date. And so that's one way to publish, either hitting the publish button or by scheduling a publish date. If you want to see the post, you can simply hit preview. It's going to open up in a new window. And now you can see some of what I was talking about. We bolded this content and made it an H2 tag. We highlighted this, or rather italicized it. We center align these paragraphs. Here's a link, and you're going to see that it's going to open up my home page. There you go, and it opened up in a new tab because that's what we told it to do. The block quote that we used, even though it didn't show up very much in the WYSIWYG, you can see how it's going to appear. This is what block quotes look like on this particular theme, and then you can see the rest of our content here. Obviously down below we've got comments section and all that kind of stuff. So in order to get back, you just go back to the edit tab that you were on, and let's say it's a great post but we forgot to add a nice graphic, and so let's do that now. Once again, you put your cursor wherever you want your graphic to go, or your media, hit your add media button, and that's going to open this gallery for you. And you can see that you can either insert media from what's already in your media file, or if you don't have it yet in your media library, you can upload it from your computer. So in this case, if I go to my pictures, I've got a bunch of sample pictures and all that kind of stuff. I could choose to add one from here, and it would simply add that to my library. For now, I'm just going to add a picture from my media file that's already there, and I want to point out some details about that. Once you select and you see this little check mark up here, you're given some information on the right hand side. This is the title. You can put a caption in, although it's not required, and the caption will show up obviously below as text to the picture on the blog post. The alt text is important for SEO purposes. You always want to include an alt text, and it can be something as basic as "this is a graphic of a bullseye." It should simply describe what the picture is about. The description is unnecessary, and I wouldn't really spend time filling that one out. And then lastly, down at the attachment display settings, once again, you can set things to justify to the left, justify to the right, or be in the center. And we'll say for this one, let's center it. Link to gives you some options. You can link to a media file, an attachment page, or a completely different URL. So if a viewer looked at the graphic and you wanted that graphic to point to another page on your website or to another website entirely, you could do that. Normally, I set this to none because I usually don't want my graphics inside of a blog post to be clickable. So that's the reason for that. And then I'm simply going to choose full size here. Insert into post, and there you see is my graphic. Once again, I don't want to publish, but I want to save it, so I'm going to save the draft. I'm going to preview again. Go back to my preview tab here. And there you go. There's our graphic. And you can see as I hover over it, because I set it to none, it's not a clickable graphic at all. This is our caption if you wanted to have a caption on the image. So that's the basics of setting up your blog post. You do want to make sure that you choose a category you've already pre-established, and let's just pretend this is resources. I'm going to uncheck uncategorized and check resources, and then click Save Draft. That saves it to a category. And those are the basics. You've just created your blog post, and in this case we're going to publish it right now. We're done, it's perfect, all that kind of stuff. And let's go back to the main site and hit our blog, and we see, oh, there's our new post. Fantastic. Because I put the more tag below this line, you only get a summary here, just like this particular blog post is. And if I hit new post, that takes us to the post itself where we've got all of our beautiful content. And that's pretty much it. If you accidentally publish and you really didn't want to do that, there's a couple of things you can do. You can hit the edit here. Actually, I'm going to show you a different way to do that. Instead, simply go back to your blog posts, all post. Grab your newest. Here's the one that we're wanting to edit, and we see that it's published here, but oops, I didn't really want to publish it. You can just go to your quick edit button and set the status back to draft. And then you'll see it was modified. It's now in draft mode, and if I refresh the page and go back to blog, we no longer see that draft post there. So if you accidentally publish something, you can undo that by going to the quick edit button. And that's about it. I'm going to leave it in draft mode, and in fact I'm going to trash it here because it was just a practice thing. That sent it to my trash, which I already have 5 posts there. Incidentally, if you send something to your trash accidentally, oops, I didn't mean to do that, not a problem. You simply go to your trash, find the post that you want to restore, hit restore, go back to your posts. Ah, beautiful, and there it is, still in draft mode like we had before. So you're pretty safe. There's not a lot that can go wrong as you're in this. Like I said, if you're basically at all experienced in Microsoft Word or similar programs, you're going to have very little difficulty creating or editing a new blog post. A couple of things I can show you here. If you click any graphic, you can edit your graphics here. These are the alignments. For instance, if I said I'd really like this to be aligned left, you can simply hit that button and it will align left. You can edit here. Perhaps you want to change your alt text, that kind of thing. You can do that here. If you want to give a different size, in this case we want to make it really huge, you can do that. I'm not going to bother with the advanced options for the time being. Let's update that, and now we have a really large graphic, but we still want to center it. And so that's one way to edit a blog post, your media, if you wanted to do that after you've published and you don't want to set it back to draft mode. So that's pretty much it. As always, thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, email me at gordon@glswebdev.com or give me a call at 585-520-5332. Thanks for tuning in.